morning, students. I hope that you all are keeping safe at your home and are healthy and fine. So as you know that we are facing shortage of time and we had very few periods. Due to this, I am making video of chapter number 6, that is British economic policies and their impacts. Okay, so let us begin with the explanation. So in the previous chapter we have gone through that uh, that is the European had came to India for the trade, and how they tried to take control over, they tried to make a economic control over India. Let us understand how and what are the policies they have implemented, which and what were their effects on the nation. So let us move and understand. So students, in last chapter we had studied that English East India Company arrived as a trader in India in the 17th century, but as they reached 19th century, they were trying to conquer and colonize large part of India. And before the arrival of the British, India was the great producer of various goods such as textiles, iron products and spices, and which were in a great demand in the other country. British land revenue policy, they introduced British land revenue policy, due to which it led to the deterioration of the Indian agriculture and resulted in frequent famine. That is the Britishers, they were charging very huge land revenue amount, that the agriculture, that is the peasants, they failed to pay the taxes which were levied by the Britishers, and nothing was remaining with them to eat. So because all the things were taken by the Britishers, which led to the frequent famine. Their commercial policies led to the deindustrialization in India. That is the India's handicraft industries, it got declined, and people left the handicraft industries and they shifted to the agriculture. Due to this, the raw materials were not used, and the Britishers, they took the benefit of this, and they used their raw materials which were available in India, and they used these raw materials and they converted into the final product, and they earned huge profit from India. Now let us understand that what were the various economic policies that affected, that had a great impact over India. So first is policy of land revenue. In 1765, the company that is the British, that is English East India Company, it had become the Diwan, that is the revenue collector of certain areas in India. After the company, that is when it has become the Diwan, revenue collector in many places in India, then the people working in this country, that is the servants, they started cheating the company, and they used to extract a huge amount of land revenue from the peasants. That is, they were charging, suppose if the land revenue is 10 rupees, then they were charging 20 rupees from the peasants, and they were giving only that is 8 rupees, that is less than the what was set earlier. Okay, so they what they used to do, so they were charging huge amount from the peasants, and the extra amount they pocketed most of the money, leaving very little for the company. So also due to this practice, what happened, this practice made a widespread misery among the peasants and decline in the agricultural production, because here the peasants have to pay huge taxes, they have to pay huge amount for the land revenue, so due to which they were not having anything to live their life. So the people practicing agriculture, they left it. To ensure regular flow of revenue, the company felt the need to restore agriculture. So now when the people were started shifting from agriculture to now to industry, so what happened, now they Britishers, they felt that agricultural practice must be restored. That means it should be brought again, otherwise they will not get revenue. From where they will get the revenue? So it also decided to settle or fix the amount of revenue to be collected and who had to pay it. So what they did, they have decided and they had fixed the amount of revenue, and they also divided the category that who will pay the tax and who will not pay the tax. Okay, so the company tried many experiments for this purpose. So basically company has made many policies. First policy is permanent settlement. Permanent settlement, then in the next page you can see in your textbook, permanent settlement, Ryotwari settlement, then Malwahari settlements. So Britishers made various settlements. First is permanent settlement. In 1793, Lord Cornwallis, he introduced permanent settlement in Bengal. Later he extended it to Bihar, Jharkhand, Orissa, northern Madras and Banaras, which is Varanasi right now. And it land revenue was fixed permanently at the highest possible amount that the land could yield. So in the permanent settlement policy, the Britishers they had fixed the highest revenue amount that they could yield from the peasants. So it was collected by the traditional zamindar. So who used to collect these revenues? Zamindar used to collect these revenues, and of the revenues collected, 89% would go to the state and 11% to the zamindars. So zamindars, they used to collect full revenue, and out of that revenue, total 100% revenue, out of that 89% was given to the state and 11% was with the zamindars. As the state's share was fixed permanently, Cornwallis expected the zamindars to improve agriculture condition to increase their own income. So now what Lord Cornwallis, he was expecting that they should earn more through land revenue, and what he wanted, that the zamindar should look after the agriculture condition, so that if more agriculture, then they could get more revenue from there. So he was saying this to zamindars. So the permanent settlement system had several far-reaching effects on the economy and the society. So let us see what was the effect of the permanent settlement. So that is new landlords. The permanent settlement system, it had many effects on the economy and the society. So first is new landlords. In pre-British India, that is before Britishers came to India, zamindars had no ownership right over land. The permanent, that is this zamindar, their only duty was to collect the land revenue. They did not had any right over the land of the peasants. Okay, but now see what happened after the Britishers came. The permanent settlement made them hereditary landowners with the right to sell and lease their land to meet the high revenue demands of the British, and many zamindars took loans from money lenders. If they failed to repay such loans, their lands were taken over by the money lenders. So what happened, that if the zamindars they have to collect the land revenue from the agriculture, they have to collect the revenue from the cultivator, and if they fail to meet the fixed revenue which was set by the Britishers, then what the zamindars were doing, they were taking loan from the money lenders, and if the zamindars failed to repay the loan to the money lenders, then what happened, these money lenders, they will take over by the money, they will take over the zamindars, and they will become the new zamindar. That means the position of the zamindar who will take place now money lenders, they will become the New zamindars. So new zamindars usually had a non-agricultural background, so they, as they were not the agriculturist, they had non-agricultural background, they were living in the cities, and they, what they were doing, they were leasing out their land to the tenants at the high rate of rent. What they used to do, now when these new zamindars, they became the owner of the land, though, so they were living in the cities, they were not practicing agriculture, so they used to lease, they used to rent the land to the tenants. That is tenants, those who want to, tenants are the that is farmers who are working on others land, okay, and they are paid a little bit amount. So here the lands are given on the lease to the tenants at the high rate of rent, that is on rent they are given, and where they were doing agriculture. So after whatever they were earning, so out of that they have to pay the fixed amount of rent to this new zamindars. So these the tenants in turn subleased their land. So the tenants who used to take land from on lease from these zamindars, what they used to do, they used to sublease. Sublease means, that is, suppose there are three, uh, this is the land of A, okay, this is the land of A, that is new zamindar, okay, this is the land of new zamindar. So this new zamindar gave his land to B, okay, gave his land to B, that is tenant, okay, and this B has given the land to third party C, okay. So this B has given to the third party, this is called sublease, that is he has already taken on rent from A, and now B has given that land on rent to C. So B will get rent from C, and then when B will receive, he will pay to A, okay, understood. Now come to next page. So this chain of tenants between the zamindar and the last tenant, who was the actual cultivator, the cultivator had to bear the burden of the increased rent. So who was the tenant, who was the last in the chain? See, that is, there were many people in the chain, like, see, you can see, like B took from A, C took from B, then D took from E. So here he is charging 10 rupees, okay. So to pay him 10 rupees, B will charge from C how much? 15 rupees. So what he will do, he will keep 5 and he will give 10 to him. So now what B will do, B gave to C. So C, what C did, C given to D. So D, what she will do, C will charge 20 rupees from D, then only he will go give to B, okay. So what happened gradually, that is, the at last, who is at the last at the chain, have to pay huge amount of tax to the zamindar, okay. So due to this policy, the condition of the peasant became deteriorating, it became worsened, the condition became very worst of peasants. The peasants who were earlier owner of their land now became tenants, that is tenants, the people working on rent on the some others land, okay. So had to pay rent to the zamindars, while zamindars, due to the government and were permanently fixed, the zamindar continuously increased the rent payable by his tenants. The rigid collection of rent without any concession forced peasants to take loan from the money lenders, who were sometimes the zamindars themselves. The peasants also took loan during wedding, funeral, festivals, etc. The loan were thus not taken for implementing better agriculture methods, but apart from increasing production, could have helped the peasants repay loans. The peasants could be evicted from their land for failing to pay rent and repay loans. This resulted in peasants' indebtedness and landlessness. So what happens? So due to the high taxes that the peasants have to pay, the tenants have to pay, what happened? Due to which, if they were not able to earn that much revenue from their land, so what they used to do, they used to take the loan from the money lenders, and And these money lenders sometimes they used to take from the zamindar also. Okay, these zamindars also were the money lenders. Okay, so what happens for they were not able to pay the rent of the land, so there are many other things except the agriculture, that is like wedding, funeral, festival, many things comes in between of our lives. Okay, so they were not having money even for the wedding and funeral, so what they used to do, they used to take money from the money lender. And due to the heavy loan, due to the heavy taxes, they were not able to meet all these loans which they have taken from the money lender. And finally these people, they uh, became indebtedness and landless. Okay, they came into debt, they were insolvent. Okay, so as a result, what happened, there happened a declining in agriculture conditions, as the britishers, neither the britishers nor the zamindars took any measure to improve the method of cultivation. So what happened, as they assured of fixed amount of revenue or rent, so they, britishers and zamindar, none of them they took any methods for the improvement of the cultivation. But instead of that, they were charging, they were fixing amount, they were fixing high revenue or rent from the agriculturist. So this worsened the condition, with this worsened the situation of the peasants. And the failure of the monsoon, okay, sometimes the monsoon does not, it is not fixed, so due to the failure of monsoon also, it worsened the situation of agriculture more, and the situation became devastating, led to the famine and became a recurrent feature. Many peasants left their lands and migrated to other regions. Now next is Rotwari system. Let us see what is Rotwari system. The meaning of word riot is cultivator. Riot. The word riot means cultivator. Okay, so British officials Alexander Reed and Thomas Munro developed a Rotwari system. Who developed this system? It is developed by Alexander Reed and Thomas Munro. They developed the Rotwari system. Now let us see what was under this system. Under this system of collecting revenue, this was the system of collecting revenue directly from the riots, that is directly from the agriculturist. Like in the first system, permanent system, what was there, that is zamindar will collect the revenue, then it will go to state. Okay, but here under this system, the state will directly collect the revenue from the cultivator. During the Anglo-Mysore War that we had studied in previous chapter, that Anglo-Mysore War, Reed, that is Alexander Reed, he experimented with this system in some of area, that is he tried to implement Rotwari system in many of the areas of the southern India. Thomas Munro introduced the Rotwari settlement in Mysore and the Carnatic, and the later extended it to the Bombay and parts of the Madras as well as. So here, so Thomas Munro, in which part he had introduced Rotwari system? In Mysore, Carnatic area, and Bombay and Madras. Okay, and Reed, he had experimented in some of the southern areas. Okay, both of these have experimented in some of the southern areas. These all are the southern areas, southern area of India. Now Mahalwari settlement, this was implemented in 1820. A British official named Holt Mackenzie conducted a detailed land survey in part of the Bengal Presidency called the Northwestern Provinces. The area included western Uttar Pradesh, parts of Madhya Pradesh, and Ganga Yamuna Doab. Doab, it is the area between the two rivers. Okay, that is the area between Ganga and Yamuna, a place or region between two rivers, that is called Doab. In 1830s, this region were placed under the Mahalwari settlement based on the Mackenzie suggestion. This settlement was to protect the ownership right of the peasants over zamindar, over their land. So what was in the Mahalwari settlement? This was led in the year 1820s, and it was implemented. It was introduced by Holt Mackenzie. Okay, and it was in which area it was implemented? It was implemented in the area of Uttar Pradesh, then some of the part of the Madhya Pradesh, and area of Ganga Yamuna. Okay, area between the these two rivers, Ganga and Yamuna, in these two places it was implemented, introduced, and in 1830s these region were placed under the Mahalwari settlement based on. So these areas, this region are when up to the year of this 1830s, it was under the Mahalwari system. Okay, so this, under this system, what was the actual system